we're going to roll on over to Kim Werst, and we're going to talk a little bit about the USDA grant and some kind of a little bit of follow up, and then we'll be heading towards the home stretch here, folks. Thanks for spending the whole day with us.
Sandy, I'm just putting a reminder that this, what I'm going to talk about is part of a USDA grant that's funding things like Grain School. So that little survey that that will help us gather information about people that are attending our events, but also measure how we make new events and get in touch with you for Grain School in the field that will be happening this fall. All that fun stuff is in that survey. It's very important that you fill that out. So I'm going to share my screen and talk more about what comes next with the grain chain. So everyone sort of knows there's been a lot of cool stuff happening that you're inspired by from the last 3 hours. How we move forward and what comes next is part of 4 partners that went in on a grant that Nana Meyer probably didn't sleep for all of April and May last year. We were working on this grant. It's the Farmers Market Producer Promotion Program grant. So it's a 3-year grant. It was awarded to the University of Colorado at Colorado Springs with sub-awardee partners, us, the Grain Chain, the Rocky Mountain Farmers Union, and UC Boulder as well. So that goes, we started planning it last year and really heavily into Grain School. But what comes next is a lot of other cool stuff. The goals are here, basically stuff we all have just talked about wanting to do, basically get more people buying and purchasing local heritage grains, help value-added producers, bakers, millers, turn added value into those grains, and then reaching other markets that are not currently buying these grains from local producers and makers. So that's if everything goes well, we do a good job increasing all that. There's a lot of players here. So when we look at how are we doing that? It's sort of a lot to go through that I won't go over all of this right now. I'll kind of focus on this area that involves more of the public facing part of that. And that's sort of creating a little add-on label that has, hey, look, you're buying pasta that's made with local Colorado grain. Maybe it has this percentage and we indicate that it's 50% or more. And we roll that out across the state and get people to participate, as well as create marketing resources and materials that they can use to promote their items at the farmers market, at a farm stand, during agritourism events, all of that fun stuff. So we're building that starting this month. And we want to include the community, all the stakeholders along the grain chain from farmer to consumer, in helping us make sure it's as effective and useful as possible. So next month, starting in May, we'll be asking people that volunteer, and I'll get to that in a second, to start meeting with us to flesh out what does this look like, what would be useful, and then we'll start refining that in June. And in July, we'll kind of pilot that program, with hopefully in August focusing on farmers first, and maybe places like farmers markets, and eventually over the next few years, including more retailers and institutional partners. Although if they come to us, like we're doing some work with the grain chain at the Boulder Valley School District, of course, we're gonna continue to pursue those relationships as well. So what we need from you is to volunteer, join one of the work groups. There are 4 of them. There's co-marketing, which is that big brand that we're talking about. Part of this grant will also include a web forum or a kind of like a Facebook marketplace all around heritage grains. So you can go there to converse and talk and ask questions if you're a farmer looking for a seed drill or questions about how that would work, or you can go there to say, I'm looking to buy grain or sell grain. So a working group would help us make that effective. What should it look like? And then test that for us. And then as well as we're hoping to get more articles, marketing efforts out on local media. So people that would want to help us with that, and then other miscellaneous things. So what you can do to help us with all of this is I will be popping a link in, or you can go to coloradograinchain.com/volunteer. There is a form that actually goes through describing all the roles. You know what to expect and asking you if you want to join, yes or no. Pretty simple. And then Andy, I'm going to kick it back to you. So I can answer more questions offline. You can always get a hold of us, but this is just really exciting. We're super proud. And I'll let Andy kind of comment a little bit more and go to explain the other outside of the grant, some really exciting things that the board is planning for the Colorado grain chain in the next few years.
Thanks, Kim. And Kim, thank you for your amazing, incredible, huge amount of hard work to pull this off. You rocked it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to say a couple words in closing here about the grain chain, and then I'm going to pass it back to Nana to bring this beautiful day to a close. So, you know, we also didn't expect the pandemic, and we had great plans to go and meet you on your farm and at your school and at your restaurant and at your county fair. And that all got squashed, and we modified our program to create our grain homeschool. And so we've had about 20 grain homeschool classes ranging from Apollonia Poilâne, the boss of baking in Paris, France, to the mighty Bob Quinn up in Sandy, Montana, talking about regenerative farming and heirloom grains. We've had Guy Frenkel from Los Angeles from Seor Breads talk about using different herbs and medicines, Chinese herbal sort of concept in bread and in food, and making food healthy and also beautiful. We've had gluten-free baking by Kim and Jake's. Nana did a clean out your pantry, you know, all those little half bags of beans and rice that you forgot that were in there. And so we'll continue to do those home grain schools, but as the pandemic allows, we're going to hitch our pizza oven to our truck and show up at a park near you, and we're going to celebrate our local grain connection with local farmers and food makers, fun and music, and have some educational outreach there. We're also partnering with various school districts, including the Boulder Valley School District and Denver Public Schools. We got 2 different desserts made with local whole grain, organic heirloom grain on in over 55 schools in the Boulder School District these past 2 months. And we'll be getting another chance in May with some wheat from Black Cat Farm. We'll be making maybe a rye chocolate chip cookie for Boulder Valley School District. In other work, we're partnering with Mad Ag. We've got a lot of spring wheat planted and winter wheat planted as well. One of the many ways that Mad Ag is a wonderful partner to the Colorado grain chain is through their field work, where they go out and they take down all the data from the farmers of what seed was planted when, what was the seeding rate, weather patterns, different ways of planting. For example, Eric Skokin at Black Cat, all of his wheat goes to his restaurant. So he's not selling on the market. He's not concerned with purity of strain. So he's doing this co-cropping of a shorter strawed wheat and a taller wheat at a pretty heavy seeding density. And the shorter wheat sort of creates a little bit of prevention of lodging for those taller wheats. He harvests those 2 wheats together and makes great bread and pastry of that. Now it's like a field blend, right? Sort of what Wes Jackson talks about with his, perennial visions of a granola from a field that has, maybe a smooth brome on the under as the prairie grass, and some sunflower and a wheat variety, and maybe some another millet or something like that, and just harvest it and get a granola. So Mad Ag goes out and they track down all of the data from the farmer and from the growing. And then we partner as a Colorado grain chain to assess the final quality of that wheat. Is it taste good? Does it work well in bread and pastry and distilling and pasta and brewing? And then we kind of give it like a final score. It's okay, this is A+. It's great on the farm, great on the palate, and so forth. So that's a major push for the coming year. If you're not a member, the spiel, become one today. What's the best way I can contribute? Your cash donation would be wonderful. Sign up as a member. It's not very expensive. And Kim, what else am I supposed to talk about?
I think that's it. We want to kick it over to Nana, but yeah, it's $140 if you're a business member, and that includes Rocky Mountain Farmers Union benefits. Members get access to all the handwritten notes from Green Homeschool, as well as members only events and field days when they do safely get to happen again. And as a 501c5, we're limited in what fundraising efforts can occur. So cash in hand is actually the most impactful way to be able to further our work.
Awesome. And yeah, thanks for listening to my spiel. I'm going to send you out with a poem here before I think Nana's just getting ready here. So a poem from Marge Piercy. This is called My Mother Gives Me Her Recipe. Take some flour. Oh, I don't know, like 2 or 3 cups. And then you cut the butter in. Now, some women, they like to make it with shortening, but I say butter, even though that means you have to have fish. See, you cut some apples, not those stupid sweet ones. Apples for the cake. They have to have some bite, a little sour and the sweet like love. And you slice them into little moons. No, like a half crescent moon. You're not listening. You mix some sugar and cinnamon and cloves. Some women use allspice till it's dark, and you stir in the apples and you coat every little moon. Did I say you add milk? Oh yeah, just till it feels right. Use your hands. You put the milk in the cake part, and then you pat it into a pan. I like the round ones, but who cares? I forgot to say you add baking powder. Did I forget a little lemon on the apples? Did I remember you place the apples in a row? Anyway, you can make a pattern like a weave. It's pretty, and I like pretty things. It's just a simple cake. Any fool can make it, except your aunt. I gave her the recipe, but she never got it right. Okay, that's all from me.